So I've got my sister helping me with our ramekins. So as you can see here, we've got one ramekin already fully buttered and sugared. All the ramekins have been buttered, but now I've explained to her how to rotate. So she's got her other buttered ramekin right underneath her, and she's gonna shimmy the container all the way around in a circle so that the sugar that she's using hopefully doesn't fall on the counter, but hopefully into the ramekin that she's gonna need next. But this is gonna make sure that her ramekin is fully coated all the way around, and then every excess bit of sugar gets tapped out into the next container so that no sugar goes to waste. After that, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a towel and we're just gonna wipe off the edge of the lips right here so that we have these nice clean sections of the ramekin so that nothing gets stuck. So if your ramekin has been buttered appropriately, you'll notice that there are crystals everywhere. And if you kind of went a little bit rogue, you might see in a couple places there's blank spots. There's definitely a hair in there, so we're gonna get tweezers and pull that out. But we're gonna go ahead and clean off the edges first. So just a plain paper towel or even lightly damp and just the edges, but keep your fingers straight so that it's not rolling inward. Just wanna clean off that very top edge of your ramekin. If you ever find yourself in a rush or you just don't have the time to allow something to cool naturally, I have my bowl, which is glass. Glass or metal would be the best. Plastic would not work well for this kind of a technique. But I also don't have a bowl to make an ice bath with, so I have my bowl just sitting on an ice pack, and I'm going to stir it constantly so that the parts of the bowl that are now chilled are constantly transferring that cold heat or that cold energy to my roux, which is still hot energy. You can also just create more surface area by spreading the roux out. The more surface area that you have, the faster a substance will cool. That's why when we cool pastry cream, we spread it thin on a sheet. If we don't do it in an ice bath, again, stirring constantly. So lots of different ways to get things to cool if you're ever trying to rush the process a little. Now we're gonna go ahead and take a peek at how we get our meringue to a medium soft peak without over whipping. So right here, we're just kind of looking at it still at a very foamy stage. And then once you get to that foaminess, this is where you're gonna wanna rein in your sugar. I have sped this part of the video up, but you can see I do take periodic breaks. I only sprinkle in a small amount of sugar at a time, allow that to really get mixed in before adding the rest. And I did verify that I'm only on speed 6, so nothing higher than a speed 6 at this point. Really, as we go through, we won't exceed a speed 6 during the entire process. Now we're looking at this here, we're still at a super soft peak. This is very, very loose. We want to keep mixing. So we did that for a little bit longer. Still seeing that we're not really holding any sort of a peak, still kind of just foamy. So in the next set, you're going to see that I've actually removed it off of the mixer, and I'm going to go ahead and finish by hand. While this does take quite a bit of effort, and instead of dirtying another utensil, I'm just using the wire whisk from the machine, I find that finishing my souffle meringues by hand, or any meringue that I'm looking for a true soft to medium soft peak on, going by hand gives me a lot more control. This final clip is going to show you the soufflés after they've come out of the oven. This time lapse took about 5 minutes to make, and you can see how quickly they do collapse. The taller, more straight-sided ramekins were filled full. The ones in the front that had the bit of like a odd middle section were the ones that I filled 3/4 of the way so that I could kind of see what the difference really would be.